Okay, how much do the ribbons cost, Kelly? Because in horse mom world, we're always like, oh my God, we spent $150 for this 25-cent ribbon. Is it 25 cent? Welcome to Broke Horse Moms, the community of non-horsey horse moms who are navigating this wild world of equestrian sports together. Today, I am very excited to host Kelly Gannon on the show. Kelly is an adult amateur who I met through our local show jumping association, CVSJA, Central Virginia Show Jumping Association, when I volunteered to help out this year. And she is so graciously taking time out of her workday to shed a little bit of light on local show associations and local shows, what they are, how they run, and why they are critical pieces of the riding industry. Now, before we dig in with Kelly, if you are a fellow broke horse mom trying to figure out this crazy sport on your own, I invite you to not go it alone. Join us. Be sure to hit follow or subscribe in the app where you are listening to this episode. Then join our barn family over at brokehorsemoms.com/newsletter and follow us on Instagram. I cannot promise that you will come out any wealthier or less stressed after joining us, but at least you'll know that you are not alone, my friend. Alrighty, let's dig in. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
So I know we talked a little bit before I hit record. You actually grew up with parents who were not horse enthusiasts. They had no horse background before you started riding. So tell us a little bit about your background getting into riding as a kiddo.
I have no idea why I wanted to ride horses, but that's the only thing I wanted to do. And I begged my parents. And my mom had a friend that did ride, and she said to wait till I was 10 because that way I'd be big enough and strong enough to actually be able to ride and control a horse. And so at 9, my parents relented, and then it was no looking back. But my mom's still scared of horses, but she cleaned stalls and stuff so I could afford to ride. She always helped. Yeah, I did not come from horse people.
No. That's interesting. I've kind of thought about the whole age to start riding. It was funny. We were talking at the barn the other day. Someone knew a parent, and I think the kiddo was like 4 years old and they wanted to start taking lessons. Do you think there is sort of an not ideal age because you can start riding like I'm 50. I could start riding tomorrow if I wanted. But do you think there's sort of a minimum age that kiddos should get to before they start riding?
I mean, I think it's different if you come from horse people, you'll get put on ponies and you have exposure every day. I think if your riding lessons are expensive, and I think if you're spending the money, I don't know that you're really getting your money's worth from a 4-year-old because they don't have the motor control,
Yeah.
muscle control. Um, I think 8, 9, 10, you're have a little better control of muscle control and ability to follow directions and stuff like that.
Yeah, the body awareness is a big piece. Like when Chloe, because she started, I think she was 11 or 12, but even then, you know, as
Yeah.
she grows and matures, like being aware of different body muscles and how to
Yeah.
isolate them has been really interesting.
And then I think
Yeah.
with any sport, the younger you learn, typically the better you are because you have the ability to build those skills. It's hard to learn anything as an adult. I didn't learn to snowboard until I was in my 20s. And
Yeah.
the learning curve was way steeper. And I see these little kids flying down the
Oh,
hills,
yeah.
you know.
They're like, hey, lady, out of my way.
Yeah, it takes them 2 hours to learn it. It took me 2 days.
Right.
And even helping adults that have never ridden before ride, there's a distinct difference.
Oh, yeah. We have the fear factor too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you rode English, right? What types of shows did you go to when you were younger?
Mostly CHSA shows. We pretty much did the hunter shows,
Okay.
equitation. I actually belonged to 4-H, so we rode hunter and western. My first blue ribbon was actually a single barrel class at Dory Park on a pony,
Nice.
and we were probably out of control. And I was in an English saddle, but
Eh, I mean,
my parents found a great barn for me. It wasn't the fanciest. They didn't do all the A shows and stuff, but I got good basics and I had a lot of fun and I got to spend a lot of time with horses that you don't necessarily get at some of the bigger barns. I don't even know if barns like that exist anymore. Our parents would just drop us off in the summer and we would have free range all day. And
they
I
do.
don't,
I mean, Chloe's kind of like that. When it snowed over these past 2 weeks, I think we could get out that first Tuesday And she was at the barn from 11 a.m. until after the horses were fed and turned out, like, every day.
Yeah.
It's
There aren't
amazing.
many barns like that anymore, but it
Mm-mm.
was a great experience for me growing up. I loved it.
I think it builds such a foundation and appreciation of the horses in a way that, like, a more traditional large lesson barn just
Yeah.
can't, from both liability and navigating all those kiddos. So,
Yeah.
did you go to rated shows when you were younger, or did you kind of stay local?
I had a really nice large pony, and I got to show at a couple of A shows at Deep Run and Culpeper, but I didn't
Nice.
get to go. I didn't do, like, qualify for any finals or do any of the big stuff. That was not in my family's budget.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a strain for sure. Okay, so let's kind of dig in then to the varying levels of horse shows. Because I remember when Chloe started riding, I had friends who rode at like JREC, where they, or James River Equestrian, which is local to us, where they will have on property shows. And then I realized, okay, there's off property shows, but they're still local. And then a year or 2 in, I started understanding, oh, okay, well, then there are shows that you could go to at Culpeper, that are considered bigger, but some are rated and some aren't. For a horse mom coming in, I mean, where do you see those different levels of shows shaking out and what kids can get from each of them?
What I see is there's some, like, local shows, like, you have some, like, 4-H and kind of like, they might have English and Western classes, they might have some game classes, stuff like that,
Mhm.
and then you have kind of your local series, which most of the local series are VHSA rated, so Virginia
Yep.
Horse Shows Association, and that kinda gives you a usually those shows are a little nicer, but even within those, I think there's a spread in quality. But if you're a VHSA member, you can qualify for year-end awards, and then usually most of the associations that host those, like CVSJA is a jumper association, and we have our own year-end award banquet. So you don't have to be a VHSA member, but you show up at CVSJA shows, you can get CVSJA year-end awards or VHSA year-end awards. So even like the Culpeper 2 and 3 day shows that they did last year, they were actually VHSA rated, but not A rated. So it was a little cheaper way to show at that venue. And then usually the following week they had the A rated shows. The A-rated shows kind of roll up into the national organization. The kind of closer you get to the top, the nicer horse shows you get, essentially. You pay more. We have better venues, better management, better prizes. Like, I mean, even the local shows, like I said, I grew up going to 4-H shows and we had a great time. I mean, you would do things, like I said, a barrel or an egg and spoon race, but I mean, you learned how to ride and you had fun and
Yeah.
it was cheap. Like way back in the day, you could spend like $100 and showing as many classes as you want. Did our ponies love it? Probably not. Did we love it? Yes.
And they're fine. They're ponies. Like, it was
Yeah.
fun,
I
you
mean,
know?
they were all fine, but the quality of writing that you're gonna find there versus CVSJ versus an A show, you're gonna see it in the quality increase. And, like, at CVSJ, our goal is to put on really quality horse shows to allow people to have the practice to step up to the bigger venue and feel confident that they can go do that because
Yeah.
they've gotten courses that are similar.
Well, and I will say, I mean, that has been our experience. Like this past year, Chloe has always shown at CVSJA as long as she has shown. And we went to our first rated show last year because she knew this year she wanted to do pony finals. And we didn't want to do like our first rated show as one that she was trying to use for qualifying. And she felt really confident and competitive in the classes that she competed in Culpeper.
Mhm.
And she has said multiple times, I think it's like she actually thinks the courses at CVSJA are more challenging than the courses were at what she saw in Culpeper.
Yeah, they typically are, and part of that well, one, our course designers show at A shows, right? Like, so
Yeah.
that's the courses that they're familiar with. But the rings at Deep Run are smaller than most of the A show venues that you're gonna go to, so you're cramming the same number of jumps in a smaller
Yeah.
space. So it creates tighter turns.
Mhm.
You have to be a little more strategic in how you get to the jump to present your horse to it well.
Yeah.
And so if you can ride a nice course at CVSJ, you should be fine to step into an A show ring anytime.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh, it seems like it's a hunter course." Like, she's like, "I don't have that many options to make, like, really tight turns."
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we've said this, but CVSJA stands for Central Virginia Show Jumping Association. So Kelly and I are located in Central Virginia. This is our local show jumping organization, which I will make another plug for. My cousin, his kiddo rides down towards Virginia Beach, and they are traveling up to CVSJA shows this year because it is one of the most, I don't know of any jumper shows down that way. I'm sure there are some, but it's really competitive.
Yeah, we actually pull there aren't as many local jumper shows in Virginia, so we actually we're located, just west of Richmond, and we have participants already coming from the Virginia Beach area. We've had people come up from North Carolina, we have people
Oh,
come from
wow.
Charlottesville. So we really have people we've even had people come from Northern Virginia, and they do have a couple jumper series,
Yeah.
local jumper series up there. But I mean, we have people traveling a good 2 plus hours away to attend our horse shows.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's Central Virginia Show Jumping Association, and we have classes that range from cross rails up to our biggest division is a meter 20 or 4 feet.
One day, one day. No time soon, hopefully. Um, so I know you and I talked a lot when I started doing some volunteer work. I think our first time we chatted was just really about local shows and the associations and how they're run. How have you seen local shows change over the years since you competed in them when you were younger?
Um, I feel like class sizes have gotten much smaller, and there's a lot more classes offered, which has kind of led to the dilution of the classes. So,
Mhm.
you know, when I first started, and I primarily showed in the hunters, I think CVSJA has mostly been the same. I've been showing there for like 20 years, but
Okay.
um our divisions height divisions, we've actually added lower classes, and I think that's what happened. Like there's a lot more 2-6 classes where it used to be there was 1-2-6 division. 3 foot might be a 3 foot pony class, a 3 foot horse class, maybe a junior amateur and a professional split. Even the hunters had local classes that went up to 3-6 because that's what you jump at bigger shows.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think the local hunters have 3-6 anymore. I think they usually top out at 3 foot, but the entries for the 2-6 divisions is huge. You'll get, I mean, even at CVSJ, if you're looking at the puddles
Oh, yeah.
division and our open 2-6 division, they'll have 20 people in them. And then our modified class doesn't even always run because it doesn't fill. We might have 1 or 2 entries. Our
Is that
three
the four
six,
foot?
that's the 4 foot. Our
Yeah.
3-6 class may only have, 3 to 6 people in it. Um, I mean, even 10 years ago when I was showing my retired mare, I actually looked up some of our results because it says how many people you were showing against, and there'd be 30 people in a 3-3 or 3-6 class. So I've seen entries, especially in the bigger divisions, really dwindling.
Why do you think that is?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question.
Go for it.
I think money plays into it, right? So if I start off, I think horse shows are just really expensive and horse showing is really expensive. So I think just overall participation across the board is down.
Mhm. But that
I
said, I mean, at CVSJA, I do feel like puddles and cross rails, those divisions are very large, even
They are.
compared, like, because Chloe did
Yeah.
2-6, she's done novice and then opens, and they still aren't as big as those lower
Yeah.
divisions.
No. I think the number one reason you see one thing like I've just seen across the board looking at VHSA numbers, I think horse showing is down and I think that has to do with costs.
Mhm.
I think some of the lower classes is I think we have too many local shows competing with one another.
Yeah.
The bigger shows have something called a mileage rule where you can't have a show the same weekend within a certain distance because you're pulling competitors and you're splitting the entries.
Yeah.
We had a competing local organization. They had our horse show on Saturday. We had ours on Sunday, and they had some jumper classes. And people that normally came to our show, some of them decided to show on Saturday. So a division that would normally have 6 people, they had 2 people, and we only had 4 people.
Yeah,
Instead,
because
right?
they
So
split.
so sometimes that is a factor, but I think a lot of people, I don't know if it's fear, a lack of education, riding education, a lack of horse accessibility that can jump bigger jumps. You just see a lot of people staying in the lower divisions and never moving up, whether that's by choice or circumstance.
Mhm.
There seems to be people that just are happy jumping 2 foot forever.
I wonder with girls, because what I have seen from just Chloe and some of her friends, once you start to get to 2-6 and really past that, it's like that fear factor kind of sneaks in. Either that piece of it to where the kiddo just isn't ready, isn't interested in going higher, going bigger. So I don't know if that's part of like the dwindling part of the industry. Um, or they also have other hobbies. Like I feel like we're in this parenting age where kids play multiple sports and sometimes they're traveling on different teams. And I feel like with riding, it's really hard to have like other interests if you're really all in it and going to go to some of these bigger heights. Um, you can have interests, but it's a full year sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So,
I riding is not something you can be half in and half out.
no.
One, and I work out at the gym a lot. They're not you're
Mhm.
not using there are gym exercises that can help you things like strengthening your core, having good balance, but you still have to ride a horse and feel that living beast underneath you
Mhm.
to develop some of the muscles and some of the skills that you need.
Yeah.
So I believe strongly in gym work to supplement that. But riding horses, it's not something if you can only ride once or twice a week, you're not gonna be able to progress
Mm-mm.
well. Like, it is something it really does require dedication, it requires time, it requires money, and for a lot of people, that's just not feasible. You either have the drive and the passion for horses or you don't, but most people aren't gonna stick with it if they're only partially committed. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what
honestly,
I
it's just too expensive.
for sure. Like, and it's grueling, like if you are going to stick with it, aside from the money, I think I was texting a trainer the other day and I told her, I was like, you either have to have a shit ton of money or a shit ton of grit. Like, and probably
You
a little
probably need both to get
both
very far.
ideally, but
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weeks in Virginia are the perfect example. You know, the 2 to 3 inches of snow with the 2 to 3 inches of ice over top of it. I
what
still
in the
have to trudge
world?
out to the barn every day, twice a day, and take care of my horses,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, I have a friend that she had 2 horses fall in a pond that she had to swim in after yesterday or 2 days ago and
Ma'am.
get out to help because they weren't getting out on their own,
Oh
right?
my
Like, taking care of horses is not for the faint of heart, and it's not you can't just say, "It's cold out, I don't wanna go feed my horses today." It doesn't work
Mm-mm.
like that.
Now you volunteer for CVSJA. I'd like to get into a conversation about what it actually costs to run a horse show.
So running a horse show is really expensive, right? Sulu and Gail started CVSJ back in the 90s, and I've ridden with Sulu for years, and she got me to help with it. And
Voluntold, is that what it was?
a little bit, but I really don't mind because I really enjoyed the association. I like jumping. Again, this is the thing that I think is really missing in our sport. And you kind of alluded to it when you said kids have a million activities and it's really hard to commit to just horses. Is CVSJ for the longest time was a volunteer run organization. We didn't pay our secretary, we didn't pay our announcers. These were volunteers that showed up every Sunday horse show and gave their time to our organization. And it got to the point that we couldn't find good people and you can't find reliable people
Yeah,
to commit to that. So we started paying them, which makes the horse shows more expensive. I think we put on really nice horse shows. We get really
you do.
nice compliments. We've purchased new jumps, which look amazing. And all of that's possible because we have sponsors, right? Like
Yeah,
our sponsors, if we didn't have sponsors, we would not be financially solvent anymore.
no.
Because the cost to put on a show, the cost of ribbons, I mean, we're paying 2 announcers, 2 judges, 2 gate people. We have
Mhm.
an EMT, which is required at VHSA horse shows.
You
What
also, you had told me when we talked before, like you rent the ground, so it's not
we
like CVSJA owns it, which would be
correct.
amazing.
Yes, we pay a facility fee. One of our fees on our like, if you look at our entries, one of our fees is a grounds fee. So if you don't have a stall, you have to pay a grounds fee. We don't even make money on that. That's a straight pass through deep run. Like,
Yeah.
they started charging it to us, and we just can't afford to eat that cost, so it gets passed on.
Mhm.
There's ribbons.
Okay,
Uh,
how much do the ribbons cost, Kelly? Because it's like in horse mom world, we're always like, oh my God, we spent $150 for this 25-cent ribbon. Is it 25 cent?
they're really more like $5 or $6, I think, a ribbon now.
Okay.
I don't actually buy the ribbons, so I would have to look, and we are looking at potentially changing vendors. Our ribbons are really long, so most people I think do like 10-inch streamers, and we have like the 15-inch streamers or something. I'm maybe slightly off my numbers. So we might have to go back to like regular ribbons, except for Champion and Reserve. They would still be bigger. But yeah, I mean the ribbon cost.
Have you guys ever thought of recycling them? Like, we have a bedroom full of ribbons that I would happily.
I mean, if people don't pick them up, they like I said, we kinda do ribbon counts, so we kind of order for the first half we'll do it we're actually getting ready to order for the first half of the year now, so we'll do an inventory of
Okay.
what's left over because there's a lot of people
Okay.
that don't pick up their ribbons. And then we'll place the order for the first half of the season, and then we'll kinda do an inventory count and see what
Okay.
we need for the second half of the season, and then the year-end prizes are really expensive. The banquet's like a whole 'nother ball of wax. Oh, and then there's also the software, right? The software that we use, we have to pay everybody who enters through that, we pay them. It ends up costing us about $7,000 to run a horse show, roughly.
And that's each week.
It's each horse show.
Yeah. And then from an entry perspective, you're not really profiting from that. Like, I remember looking at kind of the financial piece, and it's not like you're just making a killing on horse
Yeah.
shows. You're barely
You're
getting by with the
we're
help of
on
sponsors.
Yeah, we're lucky to break even between horse show income and horse show expenses. So,
Wow.
if like I said, if it weren't for the sponsors, we we wouldn't make it. Not all of our horse shows are even profitable. Like, there's some like, we had one last year and it ended up raining, so we had a bunch of scratches. Like, we
Oh, yeah.
operated at a loss.
You do pay then some of the folks that work at the horse shows. What roles are there for volunteers at the shows?
If
Like
people
jump
wanted
crew and stuff?
like, jump crew technically gets paid. I mean, we would love to have people that would want to volunteer so we could save money,
Mhm.
but currently we pay people because that's been the only way to get them there.
Okay. Now, I will tell
Or
you, Micah Thomas, who's running the junior committee, that's something I think that is going to be more active this year than maybe in years past. And it seems to be expected that the kids that are a part of the junior committee are going to volunteer at the shows. So, probably jump crew type stuff, I would assume. Um,
I mean, like I said, that would be fantastic because it would be a way for us to save money. One of the other ways to volunteer, which is great, I've done it for years, not so much this last year just because of timing, but helping set jumps. So we usually set the course either the night before or the morning of.
Mhm.
You get to walk the course the night before, you get to see it, you get to understand what goes into course design. That's a great way to help. There's a bunch
Okay.
of stuff behind the scenes, like finding sponsors.
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, that's largely what keeps the organization afloat and able to put on nice horse shows.
Yeah. Okay, so those are different ways to volunteer at the show and the sponsorship. Are there This is more like from a parent's perspective during a horse show day. We're tend to our kiddo as they're getting ready to show. But is there anything, I think when you and I talked before, you had said, like when you showed, you would be at the horse show all day from start to end, and parents would kind of pitch in and do things to help. What would you see as, I guess, first, what has changed? Because I think you said you don't really see that anymore. And what would be ideal for parents who are wanting to help and really believe in the organization? Like, what can we do?
There's a lot of setup and takedown. So we have banners. Most of our sponsors have banners that we hang up places. We try to set up a ribbon tent. We have our kind of winner circle so people can take pictures.
Mhm.
All that stuff has to be set up and taken down. Again, jump set up and taken down. One of the differences I see is, like I said, growing up, we all trailered in with our trainer. We were there from
Mhm.
start to finish to school. You had people showing in the first division and last division. Now a lot of people come and show and leave. Some of them have their own trailers. Some of them just pay their trainers to take care of their horse, and they only have to be there for the couple hours that they need to be there. Um, it's
Okay,
a
now
different
that's
world.
not my favorite.
I mean, but it's the reality
Okay.
of what it is. People make other plans. They know they're going to show before noon, and so they make plans with friends, or I don't know, maybe they have music lessons or do homework to do. I don't know what they do in the afternoons.
Okay.
Maybe they're going to do something else in the morning, and people don't. It's not. There are people that do, but most people don't hang out at the horse show all day anymore.
Okay. I need to tell Chloe we're going
Yeah.
to tighten it up this year. Just
Well,
kidding.
I think I'm really excited about the junior committee because I think part of hanging out all day is one, having the friends there to do it with and the people to support. I mean, I'm one of those people that comes and shows and leaves when I'm done. I might stay and watch some friends, or I might pop in and watch some friends, but I have my own truck and trailer. There's no reason my horse needs to
Yeah.
stand there for 10 hours when I can go turn her back out in her field and she can happily be munching.
But
So
I think for kids, it's good too. Like, I know there was one show, and one of her good friends, Ben, he was there, and I forget what, he was basically showing, I think his mom had left because it was like a different class that he was competing in, or different division or whatever. And there was no one there like to cheer him on. And we were like, well, shoot, we'll stay and cheer you on. We didn't want, I think it's that whole community sense. And I feel like the junior committee is going to help bridge any gaps between barns, because the beauty is
hopefully,
all these kids growing up together at Deep Run, basically,
yeah,
you
I
know?
hopefully I will say too, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of trainers are possessive of their students and don't like them talking to other barns, and you get kind of, I don't know if bad attitudes is the right word, but
Mhm.
animosity that doesn't need to be there.
Tension. Yeah.
Tension, that might be a better word.
Yeah.
So like I said, I would love to see the junior committee bridge that. I mean,
Mhm.
let's be real. Sometimes where you ride has as much to do with proximity as it does the actual trainer. Like, I mean, there's multiple trainers that I like, but if you live 2 hours from me, I can't consistently ride with you because I don't have that time in my day.
No.
So if you live out in Powhatan versus the eastern end of Hanover, you're probably going to choose a different trainer just because to logistically get there has to work. Sometimes it's a budget constraint. You may really like a trainer, but they're not financially in your budget, and so you
Yeah.
choose a trainer that is. And I don't think that makes it good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what you can manage to get done.
I wish there were, and I am very hopeful, um, that there was more openness to kind of cross train between trainers, because I see exactly what you have seen and have experienced it a little bit. But like this year with Chloe doing pony finals, she's with a hunter trainer who jumped on board and helped her do jumpers last year after we switched barns because there wasn't a good horse for her there. So we moved to, the reason we switched was for a horse, to find a place that had a good fit for her. And we are going to have her old trainer do a couple of lessons like in an ongoing basis. And I know it's funny, one of my friends at our barn, she was like, "Oh, you don't do that. You don't bring in like other trainers." I'm like, "But why?" I mean, if this coach is a hunter expert and the other one has a ton of jumping experience, why would we not want our kids, especially since we're all a part of this local organization and we want to raise up this next generation of horse people? Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Maybe you should
Tell
cut
me.
this and it should be off the record, but you're not gonna probably make a lot of friends that way, but I would tell you to keep on doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think one thing is being upfront and open with your trainer. "Hey, these are my goals. These are some trainers that I may wanna ride with and take some lessons with." And I think if you're upfront about it, it might be better received than when
Oh,
trainers feel
100%.
like you're quote unquote cheating on them.
No, our
Well,
trainer was, she was looking for some clinics for us too, because she knew like, oh, let's, as we're prepping for this really big show, like let's get all the support that we can. And then we were like, well, maybe instead of a clinic, we just have a consistent schedule, like once a month or something like that with this other trainer. She's like, I like it. I'm all for it.
yeah, and
So
and it's good that she's open to that. I'll just tell you, not all local trainers
I
will
know.
be, but I think the more people push and do that, maybe the more open they will get about
Yeah.
it. I think it also helps. It depends on if you have a truck and trailer and the ability to you're less reliant on your trainer for everything. It's
Hmm.
really funny because if you dabble in some different worlds, like if you go to eventers, they're very DIY. They ride with a bunch of trainers because they do 3 different discipline or they have 3 different
Oh, yeah.
phases, right? It's not necessarily 3 different disciplines, but they're used to riding with different people. They're used to kind of patchworking things together. And a lot of your hunter jumper barns, you ride with one trainer, you only do what they say. If you don't kind of fall in line and in step with what they want to do, then
Yeah.
you it's kind of my way or the highway.
Which I
Um,
get to a certain extent too. I mean, I kind of understand a
I
bit
mean,
of
some of
that
them have reasons. Sometimes it's safety reasons,
for sure.
liability reasons, but like I said, what you're talking about is less common, but I still don't see any reason why people can't be friends at different barns,
Yeah.
right? Just because you ride with somewhere, you can still go and cheer somebody on at a horse show and hope they do well,
Yeah.
and may the
100%.
best rider win. Like, some
Yeah.
days you're gonna have a good day and some days you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've landed in a Liverpool. It's not that much fun.
What's a Liverpool? Should I know this?
You'll see it in the bigger classes. It's a water-filled pool underneath the jumps, and a lot of horses will spook at them because they're have water in
Scary.
them.
They're so scary.
I mostly just lean forward, and I probably deserve to fall off, but it's
At
still
least you
not
can
fun
own
to
it.
leave wet.
No. Ew. I guess this is my question. Once you kind of got looped in to volunteering and being behind the scenes, is there anything that surprised you about either CVSJA or just local shows generally that you hadn't experienced as being a competitor in them?
I was really shocked at what it costs to put on a horse show, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize,
Yeah.
is how much time and effort goes into it and just the sheer cost of it, and it's gone up exponentially. Like, our rent for Deep Run has gone up for the past 2 years, and our numbers of the number of entries has been going down. So, right, that math doesn't work.
Yeah.
Uh, it's I remember being at a horse show and we were setting jumps and they were complaining because we were running late, but they didn't pick up a pole and help. I'm like, if you wanted to go faster, help, right? I mean, we're volunteers out here.
Yeah.
And, sometimes our schedule is contingent on other people's schedule. So if they have a hunter show the night before and it's running late, we can't necessarily set the courses the night before. We have to do it the morning of. Well, the
Mhm.
same people setting those courses are the same people showing and trainers bringing in multiple horses. So at the same time that they're trying to get their horses there at a horse show, they're also trying to set up for the horse shows. So it's, I guess, give your local horse show people some
A little
grace, like
grace.
pitch in if you see that help is needed instead of complaining.
Mhm.
Don't complain when you pay your bill. Like, look at the cost of what it puts on to put on a horse show. The other thing I think I find frustrating is I see people complaining about the bills, but before you sign up for the horse show, you know what it's going to cost.
100%.
Sign up, it tells you like the fees. So if it's not in your budget or you don't want to spend that money, don't do it.
And
Um,
also ask your trainer what their fees are because
yes,
they may not, if you haven't had that conversation with them, you don't need to be surprised on that end either.
absolutely.
So get clarity on all ends. Okay, I think this might be something that Broke Horse Moms could help with, like the local ones, because I feel like we're at these shows. Are there guidelines? Like, if we were to say, hey, we're going to help set the course, Kelly, is there something very specific that we could follow to not mess it up?
No, if you come help set a course, there will be somebody there to direct you, right? The
Okay.
course designer is there. They're going to say, we want this jump here, set it at this height. We have a stick that measures it. Sometimes it's, making sure the flags are on
Or the right
the
way. Yeah.
standards the right way. I mean, there's people there to direct you and answer questions.
Okay. So a broke horse mom could do it.
Yeah,
Probably.
just to have the willingness and a little
Okay.
strength. Some of the jumps
Yeah.
are heavy.
I mean, most of us work out. We can do it.
The poles aren't so bad. You can always put the poles near them.
Standards you might need a little help with.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share before we kind of wrap up this conversation on local horse show associations?
No, we'd love to see you come out and show with us. Like I said, we offer classes all the way from cross rails up to the meter 20 or 4 feet. So there's a
Mhm.
little something for everyone. And
Yeah.
if you're a hunter rider, come try the jumpers. We're way more fun.
So
more
much more fun. So much more fun. All right. Thank you, Kelly, for joining us. This has been great.
You're welcome.